I'm just going to apologize right now if the people out that are listening, and we do have, quite a few people listening. Again, feel free to put something in the chat. Say hello to us, even if you're family members. Say hello. And don't start yelling at Mark and I. And I apologize right now if you guys are going to start throwing the hate out in the comments about how we're treating Colin, because he's about to get abused.
No, no, think so.
He's about to get abused.
I do not think so.
I would just say one thing, is that 2 of my Mount Rushmore are not in either of your 2 lineups.
I think that's true about mine. I know. I know it doesn't make much sense, but so when I thought about Mount Rushmore, I thought baseball for sure, but I also thought impact, historical impact yes. within the city, impact on the fans. Those people that are the faces of the franchise, because sometimes, not necessarily with the Indians, but there's faces of the franchises that aren't the greatest players of all time. They're just the most beloved.
Right.
And so I got to put all that together to come up with mine. So how I think we're going to do this is we'll do all 4 of ours. I want to save my last one, so maybe I'm going to change my mind. So Colin, let's start off with your first guy. I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I normally do. So who's the first guy, the lock on your list?
First one locked on my list.
Come on.
It's going to be Jim Thome. I'm going to go start the easiest first, I suppose, because I'm guessing all 3 of you have Jim Thome on yours. Maybe not, I don't know. But, Jim Thome. I mean, he's a great ball player, great person, on and off the field. I mean, there's a statue of him outside the stadium. So he's on my Rushmore.
Mark, you have Thome as well?
I do, but it was tough. It was really tough. But, what it came down to me was he's in the Hall of Fame, and the 2 others that I was considering are not. So,
well, I'm interested to hear who those are after we reveal the other ones. Because, for me, I'm going to do this differently. For me, Thome was a lock. I had 2 locks. This was one of them. So I'm interested to hear your comments on this, Mark. I thought for sure he'd be a lock for you. I had 2 locks for sure, and really a third one. I had 7 guys. I think I told you both this. I have 7 guys that could have legitimately filled that last spot. And last week we did the Tigers. I did the Tigers with some friends, and that was fairly easy because just the superstars that they had. This one was I have 7 guys that could have made that last spot. So I also have Thome. I'll just get this one out of the way. I know Mark and I have the greatest Indian of all time, Bob Feller. I don't know if Colin does.
I do as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna let me get Bob Feller here.
That's already kind of surprising to me that we agree on 2 of the 4. So
yeah.
These were the 2 that I thought for sure we would all have, but then after talking to Colin, I thought I had no idea what to expect.
I mean, how could you not have Bob Feller on your Mount
Rushmore? Shut up.
I mean, hey, just because he's not in my lineup, I never saw the guy play. I think I've seen all one of these guys play.
I'm just teasing you, kind of. I didn't see him play either.
Yeah,
I just thought, knowing baseball, I thought all right.
Hey, he's on the Mount Rushmore because he's
the greatest Indian of all time.
Base, yes.
All right. Yeah. So, all right. I'll go with you, Colin. Your next guy on this list. This is where it's going to get, I think, crazy.
A little dicey for me.
I'm scared. I'm legitimately scared right now.
I went with Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Okay.
And it wasn't a lock to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lock, but I thought he deserved to be on there. I think he deserves to be on there. Like you said earlier in the show, he had great seasons with them. And I went back on his stats because I wanted to make sure that I should put him on this. I wanted to make sure he had good stats, and they were solid.
Yeah, 408. I mean, Again, he had is equally as good a career in Cleveland than he did in Chicago, but people remember him from Chicago. He should be a lock on this for everybody. He should be.
Yeah. Hands down.
But, we all thought about it because, again, we just don't think of him as an Indian necessarily as we do a White Sox, but he should be another lock on this list for sure. I did not put him, but he was one of the 7, and I had a really hard time not putting him on.
Yeah, I agree. I had a difficult time with that as well.
All right, so who do you have, Mark?
Lou Boudreau.
Okay.
I mean, he did something no one's ever going to do again.
I don't know how to spell Boudreau.
What?
How do you spell Boudreau?
I don't know. That's your job.
Trying to make it look right.
7-time All-Star, but he also was the MVP of the league the year they won the World Series. He led the league in hitting the same year, and he was the manager of the team.
Yep.
That's never going to be done again.
Yep. It's between Joe Jackson and him, my mind as well. I thought about that one for a minute. I couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those 7 for me. He's one of those 7 for me that I just. Again, they were so close, and taking all the things that you just mentioned, Mark, into consideration, and everything else, I could have thrown a dart at these, and it.
Right.
I went with Nap Lajoie. To me, he was the 3rd person to lock. It really came down for me between Shoeless Joe and him for that 3rd lock. But again, these are all so close. I mean, again, Boudreau, Jackson, Lajoie, those are all, players that we didn't see, but, know the history of baseball and baseball in Cleveland. And you can't go wrong with any of those guys.
Right. I agree.
Time for the last pick of our 4 greatest Indians of all time. And we are going to let you go first, Colin.
All right. Okay. This one was a lock, hands down for me. I did think about it, but lock, hands down. This player is a legend. He's a man among men. He's the first person of color to be in the American League, Larry Doby. And there's everyone talks about Jackie, and obviously everyone should talk about Jackie, but people should be talking about Larry Doby as well.
Yep.
Great athlete,
absolutely.
Great person. Yep.
Is that who you have, Mark?
Yep, 7-time All-Star. He's got the stats to back it up. 3 times, I think 3 times finishing the top 5 of MVP. I couldn't leave him off.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't do it.
I originally had my initial list was Doby on this list, and now I'm the one that's going to get blasted.
I knew it.
Oh shit.
Nick Swisher.
Let's go, bro.
Let's go, bro. Yeah.
So I hear me out on this.
Okay.
All those guys, Larry Doby, Boudreau, Jackson, Lajoie, all those I group all those guys together, and I could have gone with any of them. I had every single one of them on this list at one point, like one of the 4, and I changed. I didn't come up with this last one till today. Part of it is heartstrings. Part of it is going back to the image of the Indians and the lasting memories for Tribe fans. And what he meant to a generation of fans. He will get in the Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but he will get in the Hall of Fame. And after, this week, we'll talk in the next segment about our favorite Indians of all time. After this week with Manny not doing great on that list and the whole PED argument and everything else, Omar unfortunately is never getting in. He would have been if it wasn't for the past 24 months. But you're gonna freak who I have. You guys know who it is?
No.
You want to guess?
No, I want you to embarrass yourself. Give me the buzzer. Give me your buzzer.
Kenny Lofton.
Kenny Lofton.
I put Kenny Lofton. He will get in the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt he eventually will get in. He might be the next Indian in.
Right. He probably will be.
He, He does not necessarily have the greatest numbers, but I think all of us who saw him play, he was definitely one of the most exciting players, and he brought so much excitement to those '90s teams that regenerized the city. And even our niece Sarah, all these fans that love the Indians, they think of Kenny. I remember when Kenny came back to Cleveland, and Sarah and a bunch of friends I think went to the game that night, and maybe Paul and Amy went. He just meant so much, and he symbolized the resurgence of baseball in Cleveland so much. And you could have named a lot of guys on that team, but because his energy and the way he played, Kenny sticks out to me as that guy. Albert Bell didn't have the personality. Neither did Sandy. We'll talk about Omar, Jim Thome. Jim Thome's already on this list. So,
right.
I think, did I have anybody else? Manny too. Manny was another one I considered on this list. Let me see if I had anybody else here. Anybody else have anybody other else that they considered?
Well, I seriously tried to put Albert Bell in there because of the fact that 4 Silver Slugger awards, the 3 or 4 top 3 MVP finishes.
Yeah.
I really tried, but to me, it just came down to the fact that he's not going to get it in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And Thome is already there.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't have any problem with Kenny Lofton either. I mean, I went to the first game he played in Cleveland, that first home opener.
Yeah.
And I have never seen anyone that fast on the base paths ever.
That's why center field, I'm saying center field, he's not even in my all-time lineup, but center field's just stacked.
Yeah.
But I think about significance to the city in a generation of fans. I had to put Kenny on there. Shoeless Joe was obviously, Tris Speaker was on there for me.
Right.
And we talk about the greatest pitchers in if I was going to include pitchers, Feller, but Kluber came into my mind too. He would have been the last person on that list, but other than blowing some good picks for us. Yeah. Sam McDowell also. I didn't put him on my list, but he certainly could have been on the list.
Yeah.
I didn't put him on my list, but I did look at his stats to see if I could get him in there, but
yeah. Well, this is pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah.
We don't have too many disagreements.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now those are
Mount Rushmore.
Those are your greatest Indians of all time. Again, you could probably put another 4 players in that mix. And I am interested as I continue to do shows, especially baseball shows, because there's going to be basketball and football and hockey and all the other ones too. But because baseball is my first love and I have connection to these teams we started here. But I'm interested to look back. And I think I mentioned it earlier, looking back at other teams' Mount Rushmores and how hard it was to come up with them. Like last week, I think in general the Tigers have more stars. I don't know how many Hall of Famers they have compared to the Indians, but it seems like they have more, and that list was
big
easier.
Stars.
Right. Big stars, it was easier. And again, this being my team, my hometown team, it was probably harder because of that too. Nobody else probably would have Kenny Lofton on the list if you didn't know the significance of what it meant to the fans and so forth. But I am interested in comparing how hard it is to come up with those other Mount Rushmores. And then I think we do a show of comparing the Mount Rushmores. Maybe even have like a bracket, like a tournament of Mount Rushmores. I like that. We're going to do it.
Battle of Mount Rushmores.